position you wanted to be in. You got the fight that you wanted to fight, right? I mean, what does this moment feel like for you?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, coming to this tournament, I saw Fedor on the other side. You know, and looking back at my career, you know, I fought a lot of top guys, who's who of MMA. He's always one guy that I thought I would never have even a chance to be standing across the cage with. You know, he was in Pride at that time. It was way over there. I was in UFC, age difference a little bit, you know, but then when this tournament started to fill out and I saw that name, out of, you know, pure respect, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool? I made it to the finals and get to fight one of the guys that, you know, I came up on idolizing and watching, and here we are, man. It's just this whole thing. I came and won the light heavyweight belt after this tournament. That was fun in and of itself, but to be in the finals against Fedor, it's just a cherry on top.
What have you thought about his performance in the tournament? Because I think he had like question marks around him coming in, but he's made it to the finals. What have you thought about his?
They were great. I mean, what else can you take from him? First round stoppages. I was interested to see how the Mir fight would go with him being so big, you know, coming in and being a big heavyweight, and then he answered that with a knockout. Then with Sonnen, you know, it was I was at that fight, and those were one of the fights where I wanted to see a second round. I wanted to see if the tides were going to turn at all, but he went out there and kind of dominated Chael, you know, and looked great in the process. You know, he leaves everything he has in that cage, you know, and definitely in those two first rounds. So you can't really take much from it. That's the thing, you know, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You know, being in this heavyweight finals, it wouldn't be as sweet if it was, and no disrespect to Chael, but it wasn't be as sweet if it was almost 205ers in the finals, you know. I want a true heavyweight. Not only that, it's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And to go out there and be able to compete for the heavyweight belt against a man like that, it's a dream right now, you know, and we're a couple of days out. And, you know, I just got to handle my business and take care of it.
Might have changed after the workout today. What do you think you'll weigh on fight night?
Around 230. I was 230, 235 in this camp. You know, we kind of pulled back a little bit on the strength conditioning halfway through. So I dropped probably, you know, from 235 to 230. And my weight around fight time, my body, I just let it go wherever it wants. You know, it just kind of gets rid of whatever it doesn't feel like we need. And I just weigh in, and I'm strong enough to compete against the biggest guys in the division. You know, but I think I have that cardio advantage. And so I'm always going to keep that, and I like having that in my back pocket.
You've been a part of some big fights in your career, but I wondered what the feeling will be like on fight night. I mean, is there a chance of nerves? Is there a chance of, you know, getting starstruck a little bit, seeing Fedor on the other side of the cage? What do you think the emotions will be like?
That kind of happens for me like a week ago, you know, when you're still in that border where you're at home, you know, with my family and all that, and then you kind of like, I'm fighting Fedor in a week and a half, you know. Now it's all business. I feel great. Out here, you get that first couple workouts in, and for me, it's, if this was 10 fights, 20 fights earlier in my career, that would be the case. I'd be sitting there like, holy shit, I'm standing across from, you know, Fedor, and you know, he's about to try to take my head off. You know, now I've been in there with those top guys, you know, stood across from, you know, the greats in MMA, and I don't feel that anymore. I just feel like he's the Fedor of today, you know, the Fedor of January 26th that's getting to the cage, and that's it. He can't bring any of his, you know, past accomplishments, neither can I, and so it's kind of the better man win on that day. I know I'm prepared. The tournament's been awesome. I've been compounding on every camp, and knowing that I have a fight. There's never been a time where it's like, okay, I know 3 fights potentially when they'd be. It'd be like, you have a fight, you fight it, you go 2 months not hearing anything, you kind of lose that motivation, and then you hear something. I've known, so I've been motivated this whole past year, and we're finally a couple of days out. You know, and it's one of the biggest opportunities of my career. It's the biggest fight of my career. It would be the biggest win of my career.
Ryan, have you run into Fedor at all? Have you seen him yet this week?
I ran into him a bunch. It feels like a couple weeks ago, but when the last fight in New York, you know, and I mean, what can you say about the guy? He's nothing respectful. You know, I respect him a ton. It's an honor to stand in the cage with him, you know, but we got a job to do. And yeah, every time I see him, you know, has a smile on his face, comes to say hi, says hi. And I feel like we have a good relationship, you know, and then, you know, but he's wanting to come out here and put a, you know, potentially put a stamp on his career, and this is a big win for him, and for me, it's everything.
He still kind of has that aura about him, doesn't he? You're kind of wondering what is he really thinking? What's behind those eyes?
Yeah, he has a mystique about him, you know, and going back to, I would like to see more, you know, from this tournament from him. I wanted to see a second round with Chael. You know, I wanted to see more in the first round with Frank. You know, and that kind of adds to that mystique. You know, so I hear all kinds of stuff about Fedor. Oh, he's out of his prime. He's this and that. But man, look at his last fights. He's a super dangerous fighter. You know, especially in that first round, he's coming out like a buzzsaw. You know, and so, you know, and I have to make him do that too. You know, I got to make him go out there and use up all that energy and get that out. You know, and so. Man, this is one of the biggest fights of my career, and he's one of the most dangerous opponents I've had.
It's like the perfect scenario of this tournament for you because, I mean, you barely got touched in 2 fights. You took no damage, and now waiting on the other side for you is one of the greatest of all time, a legend. Is it kind of like the storybook tournament for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect storm. Looking back, you know, I won the light heavyweight title. I defended the title, and then they asked me to come and do the heavyweight tournament. And we said yes. We didn't know the opponents, and then you know you see it kind of fill out, and there's some monsters in there, and so yeah, you know I looked at this and said, man, that would be a cool road. I go out there and win, and Fedor wins, and we're in the finals. But there's so many variables, especially in MMA, and then we kind of see it whittled down, and I just feel like it's a perfect storm. I'm in the absolute prime of my career, physically, mentally. You know, I have the light heavyweight belt. I was able to do this tournament. I made it to the finals, and like I was saying, it wouldn't be as sweet if I was fighting Chael. You know, I'm fighting one of the greatest heavyweights to ever do it in the finals of a Grand Prix style tournament where he made his bones. You know, the ability to become the heavyweight champ and then also a 2-division champ.
What questions do you have about the condition of Fedor? I mean, you kind of touched on it, but what
Yeah, I mean, he's never went past the 3rd round in a fight. You know, I know Pride had different time lengths and whatever. I don't know, it was a 10 and 5, whatever. But he hasn't gone through a 5-round fight. He hasn't been past 3. But that's the thing. The questions are there because in this tournament we haven't seen him go past the 1st round. You know, he's looked a little tired at the end of 1st round, but at the same time, you know, they're going through it was a crazy pace, you know, and both guys were tired. I just feel if we do that, that only benefits me. I feel like I'm one of the best conditioned guys at 205. And let alone at heavyweight, and I've kept that. You know, I didn't go out and gain 30 pounds. You know, so I feel good about that scenario.
Ryan,
Last one, guys.
I feel like it's kind of going overlooked that you'd be like the champ. You'd be the first kind of double division champion in both. Do you want to speak on that and just significance?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big feat. It's a big accomplishment. You know, and to be a 2-division champ. You know, let alone at these big weights where it takes, you know, one punch. It takes one punch, you know, anyway, but still, you know, that's why we don't see heavyweights hold the belt for a long time, you know. And so it's a huge accomplishment. I think it kind of goes under the radar a little bit, but my team and I know, you know, what it's all about, you know, and like I was saying earlier, to do it against somebody like Fedor, you know, I should feel like I'd be one of the best pound for pound guys out there, you know, and I just have to go out there and prove that. You know, my last 11, I'm 11-1 the last 12 fights. You know, I've hit my stride. I'm here mentally more, you know, I've always been there physically, but I have it up here, you know, and so it's just perfect timing. Like I said, the perfect storm is here, and what better way to cap off this kind of storybook run right here than beating Fedor.
Well, why do you feel it's gone under the radar? Is it because Fedor is the name he is and it brings all that attention?
As far as what under the radar? You know, I don't talk a lot of shit. You know, I don't, you know, do this and that, and I'm not always like the flashiest guy out there, and I think that's kind of the reason why. You know, a lot of people have excuses when they lose to me. Oh, you know, this and that, or oh, he took me down, or this, or you know, he caught me with a lucky punch. You know, but I continue to prove that. Like, you know, it's not a coincidence that I keep winning. You know, and so I think it's a little combination of that, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, me, my family, my friends, the training partner, coaches, we all know, you know, what this means to us and how hard we've worked for it, and you know, how good I am, and I'm going to show that, you know, and that's what, you know, it's just a storybook ending for me, especially with him, and can't get any better.
Cool. got a
Thank
place
you
for
guys.
both belts
Last
at the
one.
house?
That was it.
What's that?
You got a place for both belts?
I can find a spot for sure.
Thank